everyone, and welcome to our online math lesson number 1. So before we left, we had just started problems with change unknown. So, change unknown. Those are some weird words. Let's kind of look at what that means. So in every word problem, we always end up writing a number sentence. And inside of these equations or number sentences, there's always a number where we start. We start with this number. And then the second number is called the change. This number, with this little pink post-it, is changing that first number in some way. And then we have our answer, which is called our sum. So these are 3 different types of problems. We could be missing the starting number. That's called a start unknown problem. We could be missing the change number, and that's what we're really focused on, is these pink ones right here. So the change can be unknown, where we don't know what this change is. We have the first number, we have the answer, but we don't know the change. And then of course, we always start with problems where we don't know the answer. That's where we start math. So now we're moving, instead of not knowing the answer, we're moving to not knowing the change. This guy right here changes that first number. So let's look at what that looks like. So here's our first problem for today. Let me grab my pen over here. So our first problem says, Rosa had 4 pennies in her jar. She added some more, so there's that change. It just says sum. They don't tell us what the change is, so that's what we don't know. Then Rosa, after the change, had 7 pennies in her jar. So here's the question. How many pennies did she add? So not how many pennies did she have at the end. We already know she ended with 7. We don't know the change that happened. So let's look at that. So first, here's a penny color. Let's look at important information. The first important information, she had 4 pennies in her jar. So let's draw those 4 pennies. Down here, she's got 4 pennies in her jar. 3, 4. 4 pennies already in there. Got it. So that was our first important piece of information. The next important piece, let's see. She added. Ooh, that's a big clue. She added some more. She put some more inside. But it just says some. So do we know how much? No. That's our big question right here. How much did she put inside? And then the last important piece of information is this. After she put some in, she had 7 now in her jar. So we have to solve this problem. How many did she put in? What is the change? So I like to organize my work with an equation before I start to answer my question. So again, I'm going to look at the information. I started with 4 pennies. So we have our starting number. We have this key word, added, so we know it's going to be a plus. Then we don't know. We have no idea. I like to put a box so that I can fill the answer in later. We do know that after she put some in, her total is now 7 is her total. So we do know that. So now let's figure this out. So I'm going to use my picture here. And I'm really going to figure out how many she put in there. So I started with 4. I like to number my pictures because then I make sure I drew it correctly. Because sometimes I get interrupted or my friend says hi and I don't finish my drawing, or maybe I draw too many, especially when we start working with bigger numbers. So I would recommend always numbering your picture to make sure. So we need to go from 4 up to 7. So let's do that. We're going to do 5. We're going to do 6. And we're going to do 7. Now I bet you can already see how many were added because I left them a different color. I didn't color them in on purpose because I thought we could really see how many. So right here, that's telling us how many. So let's count it. We have 1, 2, 3. So now we have our answer. We know that she added 3 more. Now the trick with these change unknown problems is we've been working so long. I'm going to change colors so we can see what not to do is going to be in red. We've been working so long on having 2 numbers, 4 and 7, and then we just add them, right? Well, we have always done that. If there's a 4 and a 7 in my problem, and I know I'm adding, I have to add those 2 together, right? No, and it comes back to the difference between not knowing this guy. That's not what we're doing. We know this guy. We don't know this one. So we're not adding those 2 numbers together. And this is where you have to read the problem really carefully. So we're going to do one more together to do a subtraction. And then I have a couple for you to try on your own. So let's do this one together and then you can practice on your own. So here we go. We got another jar, another pennies. Max had 11 pennies in his jar. Now sometimes I like to just stop there and get started. So I know the first piece of information, he's got 11 pennies. That's a lot of pennies. So I'm just going to draw some little circles just to make it easier. And I'm going to count while I draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And as always, I'm going to number them because I like to make sure I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. I did it right. All right, so we've got that. 11 pennies. Ooh. He took out some to buy a piece of gum. We've all done that before. So he took out. That's our big clue that we're not adding. We're taking some out. We're going to subtract. So again, I'm going to start with my 11. And now that I know what I'm doing, I'm going to put my subtraction in there. And again, we've got this big word, some. We don't know how much. We have no idea. So that's what comes next. We don't know how many he took out. Here's one more thing we do know, though. Now he has 8 pennies. So we know that at the end, he has 8 pennies left. How many pennies did he take out is our question. So instead of adding some more, we're taking some out this time. And in our class, we like to cross things out when we take them out. So I'm going to take out 3. I'm going to take out, I'm going to count backward right here. Thought I was adding for a minute. And I'm going to go down to 8 because it says that he has 8 left. I see an 8 right here. So I'm going to cross off. He took that one out. It's gone. Took this one out. It's gone. And he took that one out. It's gone. Until he had only 8 left. So, again, can we already see our answer? Yeah, so he paid 1, 2, 3 pennies for his piece of gum. And we're going to put that right here so we make sure that we have our answer. So, on some of these problems coming up this week, we're going to be putting pennies in. Remember, we're not adding the 2 numbers together. And we're going to be taking pennies out. And again, just a warning, because we did this for so long, where we took one number, 11, we knew it was subtraction, took the other number, 8, and found an answer. Nope. Remember, that's not what we're doing. We've changed it on you. We're now looking for this second number. So That's why I like to draw my equation while I'm reading the problem, because it really helps me to remember this is where I'm looking for an answer. All right, so I got a couple of problems for you to try on your own. Don't forget that mathematicians, people who do math, we draw pictures, we write numbers, we do equations, and in my class we even like to add some words. So you can add a little sentence about your answer if you would like to. Have a 4-star problem is what we call it. So let's look at your turn. So you can pause the video when I hold this closer and try these problems on your own. I'm also going to read them for you in case it's hard for you to read them. So number 1 says, Sam had 6 pennies in his jar. He took some out. Now he has 4 pennies left. How many pennies did he take out of his jar? So now that I've read it with you, I would pause here and do number 1. And when you're ready, hit play again to do number 2. Number 2 says, Kim had 8 pennies in her jar. Her mom added some more. Then Kim had 12 pennies. How many pennies did her mom add to her jar? Again, pause it here, try it on your own, and you can turn it in for one of your assignments this week, or just for fun if you want to share with your teacher how awesome you are doing. And join me in the next videos. Math video number 2 is coming. Until next time.